Hi, welcome to third grade reading summer school. I hope that you're ready to do some extra practice to make sure that you make up for lost time. One of the things that you'll find in your packet are a bunch of passages. You guys know that you missed out on your very first ever STAR test. Kind of good, kind of bad. But we know that those will still going to happen in the future. So I want to make sure that you're prepared when you head into fourth grade. We're going to talk about how to go through a passage. You'll find the first passage in your packet labeled Christa McAuliffe. We're going to use that one to talk about how to make tracks in our passages. Here's my copy of Christa McAuliffe. When we look through reading articles, we are going to look for evidence that the author has given to us. Authors use lots of different things to help us when we're trying to understand a passage or a story, especially if they're these kind of passages. When we're working with these passages, we want to make tracks. Just like you can tell when an animal has been around by looking at their footprints, we want to make sure that as readers, you can tell that we have been in the passage by making marks. It doesn't take any kind of special tool to make tracks. You can use markers, pens, you can use a pencil, a highlighter, or a colored pencil. Doesn't have to be anything special. I'm going to use a colored pen today to make sure that you can see what I'm writing. The first trick that authors give us is the title. You want to read and underline the title first. In this case, it's Christa McAuliffe, 1948 to 1986. This is my title. Now, I can look at this title and I can tell that it's a person. I recognize a first name and a last name. And then the numbers underneath are years. Since there are 2 years, my mind is thinking, wow, I wonder if this is about her life. I'm going to look at the passage for other things before I even begin. One thing I want to try and decide is, do I think that this is fiction, something that the author has made up, or is it nonfiction, something that the author has researched and really did happen? So, the title is a person's name and it's followed by dates. I'm starting to think this might be nonfiction. I'm going to look around for other features. So, one of the first features I see is this box right here. We call this a text box. It's basically a box with text, and text just means writing. Look at this. This is a photograph of a person. I'm going to say, I bet this is Christa. So I'm going to label this as a photograph. This looks like a real photograph. I don't think somebody drew it or imagined it. It looks really real. I'm thinking nonfiction again. Look underneath here. This is called a caption. When authors use pictures or diagrams or drawings, they often give us a little sentence or two underneath it to help us understand why they put the picture in. So let's read that caption and see why the author put this picture of this lady in it. McAuliffe during space training, learning the effects of feeling weightless. Wow, space training. That's exciting. She looks like she's actually inside of a spaceship. So we're going to look for some more text features. Things like important words, boxes like this, maps, diagrams, anything else. Look over here. I see one more text feature. Do you see this? Do you see how this word is underlined? That means that this word is going to be important. I'm going to need to be able to figure out what this word means by looking around it. I'm going to have to look for clues about that word if I don't already know it. So, I don't see anything else. I've got a real photograph. It says that McAuliffe was in space training, and it looks like she's in space. And I have 2 dates that look like maybe a birthday. Wow, maybe a day that she died. I'm really feeling like this is going to be nonfiction. I can go back and check this prediction. I may be wrong. I don't think so, but I might be. Sometimes I am. And so I'm going to put this in a little bubble and say, you know what? This is my prediction. I'm going to make a prediction that this is the story of Krista McAuliffe's life. And I'm going to think that it was had to be about space because the author chose to put a picture of her in space training. Once I've kind of thought about this for a little bit and looked for any kind of clues the author may have given me, that's when I go back and I start reading the passage. So let's read this passage. Let's start at the first paragraph. Krista always wanted to be an astronaut, but for some reason she ended up being a teacher. Oh, teacher, that's my favorite. I'm going to put a little heart next to that. I'm a teacher. I like other teachers. One day, NASA needed a teacher to go into space. Oh, I wish they'd call me next. All right, paragraph 2. When she was still a child, she had been fascinated by the space program. But when she grew older, she instead opted to become a teacher. In 1984, however, NASA announced that it was seeking a teacher to fly on the Space Shuttle Challenger. Krista applied, got the job, and took a leave of absence from teaching to train for the fulfillment of her childhood dream. Wow. So it's kind of like she got what she wanted, isn't it? It said that she always wanted to be an astronaut, and now all of a sudden she was accepted and was going to go and do what she always wanted to do, her childhood dream. Wow, that's pretty lucky. Let's finish the paragraph. She and 7 other astronauts on board the Space Shuttle Challenger were killed. Oh no. I'm going to put a little sad face. That made me sad. When the Challenger exploded, only 78 seconds after taking off from Cape Canaveral, in what remains to this day one of the most tragic accidents in NASA's history. Oh, wow. That's pretty sad, isn't it? So, I think this was definitely nonfiction. So, I'm going to go back and put a little check mark next to my prediction. I think that was a pretty good prediction. Now, in my mind, before I start looking at questions, I want to think about what is it that the author told me about this person? What was most important? So, we learned that Krista always wanted to be an astronaut, that she wanted to be in the space program, but she decided to become a teacher. But later, whenever they announced that they had a different program available, they were looking for a teacher to fly on the Spaceship Challenger, she decided that was the perfect time to do her childhood dream. Fulfillment. Childhood dream. What did she do with her childhood dream? It seems like her childhood dream came true. So I'm going to use this, came true, and let's see if that helps us later. It makes sense in my sentence. Let's see if it makes sense later. Then, after she was an astronaut, it says she and 7 other astronauts were killed. Wow, 78 seconds. Do you know how long that is? There are 60 seconds in 1 minute. They weren't up for very long at all, were they? 60 seconds is 1 minute. Oh, that is so sad. That's definitely a tragic accident. Now that we've read through the story, let's go look at those questions. All these questions can be answered based on either what we read exactly in the story or based on something that we know is true and that we can figure out from after we read the story. So sometimes we kind of have to do a little extra thinking. Let's go see what these questions are about. In paragraph 2, so I know right now that I'm looking for paragraph 2. So everybody go look at paragraph 2. I'm going to circle it because that's where I need to look. The reader can use the prefix full to know that the word fulfillment. Prefixes go before the word. Here is the word full. When we read it before, we were talking about it, her dream coming true. Let's see if that helps us. Needing to achieve a desire, lacking in achievements, or hoping for achievements. I wouldn't say that she was lacking. If you are lacking something, that means you don't have it. I think Krista McCallus did. So I'm going to put don't have it and I'm going to mark it out. I don't think that's my answer. And here is why I don't think it's my answer. Hoping for achievements. I think she was hoping for achievements, but I believe that she got her achievement. So instead of hoping, we're going to say has it. Her achievement was to be space. So does she need to achieve it or did she achieve it? Well, when we read it before, we wrote the note came true. So I don't think she needs it. I think she achieved it. All right, so I'm just going to put a couple little words. So when you're answering questions, it's important to know where they tell you to look. Paragraph 2. It's important to go back and look at any notes that you made. If you had an underlined word, you want to make some notes. And you want to go through each answer choice and tell why that answer choice is not the right one. So here, simple little notes to myself that tell me that, you know what? I know this is the best answer. She got what she wanted. All right. So let's look at question 2. Oh, which statement would the author most likely agree? So I want them to agree with something. Can you talk to the author? I know I wish I could. I'd like to learn some more, but the author's not there. So this is a case where I'm going to have to take what I read in the story and what I already know and put them together. We call that making an inference. So McAuliffe was an adventurous woman. Well, she did go into space, so maybe. So I'm going to put space and leave it there. I'm not sure that's... So we know that she wanted to go into space. I think that makes her adventurous. McCall thought teaching was a better choice than NASA. Did she think it was better? Can we tell if she thought it was better or not? We know it's the choice she made, but we don't know why she made the choice. McAuliffe was disappointed she didn't become an astronaut. I don't know. Can we tell that she was disappointed? It seems like she was okay being a teacher. She did it for a long time. And she even decided to be a teacher in space. McAuliffe was a courageous woman. Kind of like that answer. But courageous and adventurous. What do you think? I think those answers are almost the same. I don't know that I would pick those because they're almost the same. All right, so let's look at this again. Sorry, I had to cut there for a minute. That's going to be a little strange. That's all right. So look at this one. I was like, adventurous and courageous. Those sound pretty much the same. But I don't know. I think it takes a lot of courage to go into space. What do you think? I'm not sure this is the best question, and I know that you'll have this sometimes too. But you know what? I think that the best adjective to describe somebody willing to go into space was courageous. Look at question 3. The author wrote this selection most likely to. So I want to know, why did they write it? So we need to answer the question why. Why did the author decide this was important for us to read? Let's see. Inform the reader of a tragic event that occurred in NASA. That's a pretty good answer. Tell the reader about a teacher who became an astronaut. Oh, that sounds even better. Look at that. They've got the fact that she was a teacher first and then was an astronaut. Explain how a person can become an astronaut. I don't think they did a good job of telling me how I could go be a teacher in space. I don't think so. Communicate the importance of fulfilling your goals. Well, I do think she's an example of somebody that is a great role model for it, but I don't think that's why the person chose to write this. I think that the best answer was to tell me about a teacher who became an astronaut. So this is a tell, not an explain or not an explain. All right, last question. Okay, here's our last question. Question 4. Oh, this question's about the photograph. Remember, we talked about the text feature that we call a photograph? Why do you think they included it? So look back at the picture. Let's see. We've got her practicing in space training. And all right, she looks like she's inside. She's practicing being weightless, according to the caption. All right, so now let's go back and answer. How McAuliffe enjoyed training to be an astronaut. So, do you think they put this in to show us that she liked being an astronaut, that she was enjoying the training? Well, she's got a big smile on her face. I like that answer. One way astronauts train for space. So, I like this answer too because she was an astronaut training for space. Let's hold on to it. The cool things astronauts get to do while training. Uh-oh, that seems pretty cool. Yikes. How McAuliffe reacted to floating? Oh no. I like a lot of these answers. You know what? That means I'm really going to have to think about which one is the best. A lot of times, a bunch of answers are going to sound good, but you have to decide which one is the best. So, we're going to go back and think about what the whole story was about. The whole story is about this one woman named Chris McAuliffe, who was a teacher that always wanted to be an astronaut, but she was a teacher, and then she applied and decided and was going to be able to go into space. And this was her during training. So the whole point of the article is about her. Not just any astronaut. It's not about how to become an astronaut. It's about her. So I want to take out these two answers that just talk about astronauts. That's not good enough. We want the information to talk about her. Now let's look at the other two. Do you think it's to show how she enjoyed training, or do you think it's how she reacted to floating? Those answers are pretty close, but I think we can say with that big smile on her face that she was enjoying her training. It's the best answer. So, as you're working through your packets, I want to make sure that your passages look like this. Your passages should have marks, doodles, pictures, smiley faces, wows. It should have labels where you went through and said, you know what, this is a photograph. Maybe there's an actual drawing. Label it a drawing. Maybe there's a map. Maybe there's other boxes. Look for important words. Go back after each question and go back into the story to find the best answer. Make sure that you have evidence listed next to your questions. When I go through and look at them, that's what I'm going to be looking for. This is how you show me that you know what you read. You found the answers and you've made your best selections. Good luck working through the rest of the passages. Don't forget, if you need any help, we'll be calling.